Okay, so the next section that we are looking at is our body one paragraph. So it's labeled paragraph 2 because it comes right after your introduction paragraph. So it's technically the second paragraph of your essay, but it's body 1. It's your very first body paragraph. So the way that this is broken down is you guys are going to give a cease response essentially with 3 pieces of evidence. If you've completed your argument essay planner, you already have a lot of this work already done. You're welcome. But let's go ahead and get started with our claim. So it's technically your thesis statement or your topic sentence for this particular paragraph. So you see I've given you some help here. So to begin, the districts should or should not rebel because. And then here we have reason 1 from our intro paragraph. So you could grab that from up here because here's your first reason. The other place that you can grab it is back here. Whatever reason you put here, Hunger Games, whichever one you chose, is what you can put here as well. Now, here's a word of advice. For this outline, in order to get the points for the outline, bullet pointed statements are perfectly fine. However, if you're trying to make your life easier when you get to draft 1, I don't recommend doing bullet pointed statements. You're going to want to try and do complete sentences. The more complete this outline is with complete sentences that make sense and are fully fleshed, the easier draft 1 is going to be for you. So it's just a matter of when you're going to do the work. Are you going to do it on the outline or are you going to do it in draft 1? For me, I'd rather do it on the outline because it's broken down and chunked for me a bit more. But some kids just want to get the ideas out and want to do the actual writing for the draft 1. So it's your call. Okay, so what you can put here, let's say you're using the Hunger Games. I would delete this and I would say because the Capitol invented and forces the districts to participate in the Hunger Games. Now, I've also given you kind of like the start of an elaboration sentence here. In the novel, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, the author portrays a dystopian society that what? So you could here say that forces the tributes or forces children, teenagers, etc., into a death match or into an arena for the sake of entertaining the Capitol. All right, so you're just giving a little bit more information. Now, the next box down is your elaborate. Now, this year I've told you elaborate is completely optional. And you'll notice this is highlighted in green. It is still completely optional. So if you wanted to add your elaboration sentence, it's a summary of the evidence that will follow. So of all of the citations that are coming, it's a summary of that. So I've given you a sentence starters here. So for example, Collins describes, and then here, if you're talking about the Hunger Games, you're going to want to talk a little bit about the games. Like, what are they? Give me, and why are they terrible? Describes how terrible the games are in 3 specific scenes. Something like that that's going to introduce the evidence that's going to follow. Now, if you leave this box blank, you can even delete it if you wanted to. That's totally fine. The next one that is required is evidence number 1. So evidence 1, if you come back over here to your argument, should be your citation that you already have pasted into this box here. So if we're talking about our Hunger Games paragraph, I should already have a citation. So maybe I'm going with that citation that said, like it was in the very beginning with after the flooding and the migration, the districts rose up and rebelled, and then the Hunger Games were formed. There was some citation that was something along those lines. So if that's my citation, so I would come here and say to illustrate, Collins describes the foundation of the Hunger Games when the text states, or I could change this to when she writes. And then I would copy and paste in my citation right here, okay? There's my citation. And then I'll also make sure that you include your page number as well. So you're copying and pasting that from here, and then you're going to come down to do your analysis. Now, this evidence clearly shows that the districts should rebel because. So I need to know why this evidence shows rebellion is justifiable. I also am going to want a sentence. This also makes clear that the people of Panem have no choice but to rebel because. So you're giving me a little bit more information. Don't just tell me that they should rebel. Why is that their only option? If you're going to formulate an argument, you want to make it clear how strong that evidence is. It's not just that they have the right to do it, they have no alternative. What situation are they in that makes it so that they have no alternative? Your analysis should be 2 sentences. Okay, so I'm going to give you those ones there just to kind of give you a sense of how you can do that. Yes, you can copy from this. Then a second citation that clearly shows the district should rebel occurs when. So I'm going to come back to my argument, and I'm doing terrible scene number 1. So maybe for this one, it's Rue's death. Occurs when Rue is murdered in the games. So the text states, and then here again, I would copy and paste my citation that I already found. It should be right here, copy and paste it over, and then I would come down and do my next piece of analysis. So notice here too, I'm giving you guys some sentence starters here. So this indicates that, this means that. Given this piece of evidence, it is obvious that, I like this one, so I'm going to hit Control-Shift-V. Given this piece of evidence, it is obvious that the district should or should not rebel because, remember, you're going to want a second sentence. This also shows, and I'm going to leave that blank for you there. And then lastly, your last piece of evidence, if you want, you can copy and paste the sentence frame that's here for you. Control-Shift-V. And finally, another scene from the games that justifies or does not justify rebellion occurs when, and then let's say you do the Cato scene, or maybe you do the Glimmer scene, something like that. And then you come back to your planner and you pull your third citation that you have here and copy and paste that citation there. And then you do your last piece of analysis here. So that's going to be the most of body 1. The last thing that you have to do here is the significance. Why, a summing up sentence. Why is this important? How does it support your claim on rebellion? What does it teach the reader? What does it prove? What is your there for? So the evidence provided clearly proves what? And then give me a because. Why? Don't just tell me it proves it. Tell me why it proves it. And that would be a great significant sentence. Okay? So that's how you're going to do body 1. Body 2 is going to be the exact same thing. You've got your sentence starters here if you want to use them, but you're going to do the exact same process. You're going to come down to your next argument outline. And now our next reason, theoretically, possibly, is cruel treatment. So you could do another, let's say, secondly, the districts should or should not rebel against the capital. Remember, capital is a capital C because it's the name of the place. Because, and then you're going to say of their cruel treatment. Here you can optionally do an elaboration sentence. Where did we see cruel treatment? Again, a summing up of the evidence that is going to come. And then you're going to go through that exact same process, giving me your citations that you can pull directly from this document, and then explaining to me why that shows cruel treatment and why cruel treatment justifies rebellion. So let me give you an analysis here. So maybe let's say that this one is the Martin example, like that's our cruel treatment. This clearly shows cruel treatment because. So why is the Martin example cruel? Let's start there. Might seem obvious, but you still have to explain it. This also, I'm going to say, therefore, justifies rebellion because, or does not justify rebellion. So there could be sentence frames for your 2 sentences there. This shows blank because blank, and it therefore also justifies rebellion. And you're going to do that as well for evidence 2 and evidence 3. Okay, and then you have another significant sentence here. Now, what's different about the body 2 significant sentence is that actually you're going to be transitioning to a counterclaim. So for body 2, you can do all of this makes clear the necessity of rebellion, but you can now transition. However, some may disagree, because that's now going to be, or you can say all of this makes clear the necessity of not rebelling. However, some may disagree, because then your next sentence for your next paragraph is going to be your counterclaim. Okay, so that gives you a nice transition between those two. All right, so that is body 1 and body 2. They have the exact same structure. It's just two different reasons, reason 1 and reason 2. And then our next video will be for the counterclaim. Any questions, let me know.